Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. How are we doing? It is Wednesday for me when I am starting this here vlog. It's been kind of a weird start to my week and a weird start to my day, and I'm just ready to put a little makeup on, hopefully feel a little bit more normal, and get a lot of stuff done, both today and this week. So where I've been, what I've been up to since we last spoke, mostly just trying to get back into the swing of things when it comes to exercise and eating right. I think the exercise has been easier to get back into. The eating, how I have been getting accustomed to, has been more challenging, and I think that makes sense just given where I started with my habits in the first place. You know, food's always been harder for me. I have to say, I just haven't really been in a deficit-y kind of mood. Strangely, I hit a new low in terms of my weight today after again, not watching my calories or doing anything like that for a week. Kind of in this weird place where my trip's coming up. It's not super soon, but it's not super far away. I don't think I would lose a meaningful amount of weight between now and then. And so for me, it's kind of hard to want to stick to my calorie deficit. So I think my goal for the next little while until my trip comes up is just maybe try to nourish my body in a healthy way, maybe try to treat myself nicely, and then just, try to get back into a routine with exercise because I have just been feeling so out of it, not doing my normal routine. Like today, for instance, I did not go on my morning walk, but I was really wanting to get those steps in. So I went to the gym and did an upper body day, did my normal Stairmaster afterwards, and then after the Stairmaster, I got on the treadmill and just walked at a pretty leisurely pace for about 30 minutes. I was just watching vlogs on YouTube, and that was fine, but I like the scenic aspects of my walk. I like kind of that routine. I just have not been doing it, so I need to get back to that. But it's been a weird couple of days. I'm also trying to get some stuff done before I not only go on vacation, but get stuff done before November comes around. This is the first time that I really do think that I can pull off taking a break in November. I mean, it's not going to be a break like I had initially envisioned it when I thought of this idea 3 years ago. I'm still going to be vlogging for the vlog channel, sort of thing, probably still definitely still reading for the list video that I have coming up in December, but I won't be posting, or I won't have to edit for the main channel. I'll have everything done, hopefully, if I get everything done these next few weeks leading up to November. But that means that, I sat down on Sunday and put together sort of my TBR, my to-do list, all the videos that I need to kind of pre-film, send to sponsors, that sort of thing. And I won't lie, it was a bit overwhelming. I think even writing it down, it helped a little bit in terms of me being able to actually see what I need to do, but it was also sort of oh god, today is the day that I finally get to business, to work. Jesus Christ, my brain. This is the day that I get to work and actually get started on something. So let's do that. Let's do that together. Which is also why I am putting on my makeup after the gym instead of showering immediately. I know that probably sounds kind of gross, and I'm not saying it's not, but part of what I would like to do today is listen to a couple of audiobooks for the list video that I am working on for Sunday. And to do that, I could just sit down and do nothing, but I think it would be a better use of my time to maybe do some things around the house, like cleaning, organizing, decluttering. Our hall closet is one of those places that just becomes a dumping ground for things to sell or donate. So I really need to go through that, and I've been putting it off. I think Haden would also be really happy if I did that, if I went through that stuff. So I think that is what I'm going to aim to do today. And it's I'm gonna get sweaty and gross, so I'm just gonna stay in my gym clothes and then shower, obviously, after I'm done doing all that organization. And that's sort of the game plan today, is do some audiobook listening, clean, organize, that sort of thing. I'll be doing that, I think, probably a couple of days this week, and then on top of that, I need to just sit down at my computer and click-clack away, make some notes for these lists that I'm working on. You'll probably, no, you will see that one before this one, but I'm doing a list video where I read all of Goodreads' most anticipated romances of the year. I do this video almost every year. I feel like I've been doing it for the past 2 or 3 at this point, and I need to make notes for all of those entries. I've done a couple, but I need to really buckle down and do that over the next few days, because if there's one thing I hate, it's having to do the notes for a list video all in one day. It takes a long list 5+ hours, and I just don't want to spend an entire day doing that. So if I could break it up, that would be really nice. So yeah, it's a busy kind of worky sort of week. I will probably be taking you along for it, kind of updating you as we go and telling you what books I'm reading, because I've got some books to read. My notes app looks crazy. This is what it looks like right now for this week. We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it all done together. It's gonna be a fun time. Anyway, as I'm finishing up my makeup, I will tell you what's on my mind other than work. I mentioned last week my 2025 bucket list, and been steadily adding a couple more entries as time goes on. Yesterday and the day before, I collaborated with my little sister, and we kind of started the beginning stages of planning a vacation, like spring, summer of 2025. And I have to say, that's just having me like even more excited for next year. And it's like strangely helping me stay motivated for the end of this year. I'm obviously like so looking forward to the trip I'm going on, but I think because it is like nearing, it almost feels like it's already over, if that makes sense. I need something new and fresh to look forward to. And so kind of planning really far in advance, it gives me time to plan it out in exactly the way that we both want it to go. And also like gives me time to just like have something to get excited for. There's a lot of like question marks about it, but as I'm sure you could probably guess, we're gonna go to Disney, I think. It was nice to just kind of like daydream, excited to see what next year has in store as well. So anyway, I'm gonna finish up my makeup and I am going to get to cleaning and listening to the audiobook All's Fair in Love and War. I have the physical copy of it as well, but it's just like I wasn't really feeling it that way, if that makes sense. And I love a good historical audiobook, so I just picked it up from Libby. I'm already 17% of the way in because I had already like read some of it, you know, physically. So I am going to get cracking on that, and I'll keep you posted on my thoughts and feelings. Hello friends, it is 6 p.m. I have gotten some reading done. I have done a lot of cleaning and it feels really good. I finally attacked this closet that's right here. That was very satisfying. I moved all of the things that I am donating or selling to a different location. I was able to like vacuum in there, kind of reorganize some of my bags back to my closet. I have this bad habit of like using a purse and then like switching purses and they end up in here and that's like not where they belong. And yeah, it was just nice getting to reset. I also just had a piece of dairy milk chocolate that Caitlin left me, and honestly, shout out to Caitlin, just like one of the sweetest, kindest, most thoughtful people that I know. She brought me a bag of like British chocolate and that's what I needed. I really feel like the UK has like banger chocolate. I mean, I feel like all of Europe has better chocolate than the US. Oh, that was delicious. And hopefully that'll tide me over until Haden gets home. He is officially on his way, so hungry. He's gonna bring me dinner, which I'm very much looking forward to. I mostly sat down to talk about books. Okay, so let's talk about them. Finished Pride and Prejudice yesterday, and I know I didn't say that, but I wanted to just like briefly talk about it. Here's the thing about this channel and just like talking about books in general. Love talking about books, but sadly I feel like the more time goes on, less that I really want to sit here and like deeply analyze books. I don't think it's laziness so much as just the sheer volume of books that I read makes it to where, especially over on this channel where like the goal isn't necessarily analysis, I'm just not looking to like dive deep. Someone was like really going off in my comments for the last video talking about how I like didn't understand Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and like first of all, it's not that serious. Second of all, I don't know, sometimes I read a book and I know that like I may be missing the deeper analysis, or if I really wanted to I could dive deeper, but like sometimes a blanket, it just didn't work for me, is like all I can manage. So all that being said, I don't have anything profound to say about Pride and Prejudice other than this is the third book that I have read, I believe, by Jane Austen, maybe the fourth. I actually really liked this one. Like I think this is the one that I enjoyed the most, closely followed by Emma, then maybe Sense and Sensibility. But I don't need to explain this one because I feel like everybody and their mother has read it, but it was nice getting to finally read it and finally like form my own opinions. And I think maybe because I've like seen a couple of different adaptations, the book, I guess it surprised me like how true the adaptations are to the book. I wanted to like view the book through the lens of, you know, semi-critical analysis and or comparing it to the two adaptations and seeing like which I thought better reflected the book. And I have to say, like, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but ultimately all of the like nuance of emotion that people try to read into one of the adaptations versus the other, like, oh, you know, the newer version isn't as good because it's like too melodramatic and too serious, and I don't know, I don't really feel like that affected my enjoyment of the book, and or I don't feel like it was an unfaithful adaptation for that reason. That's what I was thinking when I was like reading the book, was like, okay, what adaptation reflects it best, and do I like the book on its own merit? I'd rather just watch the movie or like the BBC miniseries, and I think it stands well on its own merit. I mean, duh, this is like one of the most popular books of all time, but you know, it just surprised me, I guess, like how true to the book both adaptations are, in my humble opinion. So I'm obviously not the one to come to for like analysis for Pride and Prejudice specifically. I thought it was a fun time. I read some other like Jane Austen books for a video a while ago. When I read those ones, I felt like I had a little bit of a hard time with the accessibility of the writing. It wasn't like horribly inaccessible, but it obviously is not like modern. But for some reason, when I read Pride and Prejudice this time, it didn't strike me that way. I like didn't have a hard time at all. Maybe it was Rosamund Pike's like narration. I just think that she really killed it. But anyway, good times. I read a more modern historical romance, if you want to call it that. All's Fair in Love and War by Virginia Heath. I'll insert a little picture right here. She's yellow, she's cute. I wish I could say that I enjoyed this one as much as Pride and Prejudice, but that would be a lie. This book is about our main character. I can't remember her name, even though I literally just finished this book. She is the daughter of, I don't want to say like a random woman, but like kind of. And her mother married this like really evil military guy. After her mom died, she's like barely taken care of by her stepfather, and he's just a piece of shit, and he kind of unceremoniously dumps her on the doorstep of this school for governesses. And this actually turns out to be like the biggest blessing of her life because she makes really good friends there and she is really well suited for the job. But years into the future, after she has undergone her schooling, she's having a hard time landing a position because she has very particular rules and or standards for how she wants to treat the children in her employ, I guess, or, you know, in her care. A lot of the interviews, like the people are like, oh, you need to be really strict with my kids. And she's like, I'm not that kind of teacher. And she lands a job being the governess for this gentleman who is supposed to be taking care of his 2 nieces and 1 nephew while his sister and brother-in-law are kind of traveling abroad. He's like dumped with them and he's like, okay, I've got to find someone quick. And he doesn't like question our heroine too much in the interview process, but then quickly realizes, oh shit, like I'm in the military and like I wanted someone who was a little bit more like straight-laced and did things exactly by the books. Our heroine's not like that, but of course he is tempted by her short stature and big breasts and red hair, and they end up falling in love over the course of the story. And he's got some trauma in his past because like his ex-fiance cheated on him and made a fool of him, and he also really likes the military and doesn't want to give it up for a potential love. Theory, it sounded nice. I normally really enjoy stories with a governess involved, like where the heroine is a governess, because I think kids are fun. I think they're a fun way to bring hero and heroine together, and I do think that they were like the saving grace of the story. They made it fun and interesting, but unfortunately I felt like the actual relationship between hero and heroine was just so lackluster. I think one of the Goodreads reviews that I read after finishing summed it up well, which is that there's just a lot of like internal dialogue on the part of hero and heroine and not enough external dialogue between the two of them. Like if you're gonna get me to care deeply for a romance and root for it, I need these characters to be interacting, and that just didn't happen much. In this book, it was like, I don't know, it wasn't that there was zero interaction, but it just was not on the level that I've come to expect from a historical romance, especially one, again, that has kids at its center. Normally when kids are at the center, the people are discussing the children often and at least having like banter that way, and it didn't happen as much as I like would expect from this kind of book. So all that to say, it was kind of a dud. I'm now only 1 book away from finishing reading all of the books for this list video. The next one I'm going to be reading is called Bloodguard, but I actually don't think I'm going to pick that one up immediately. I'll probably pick that one up tomorrow, and instead I'm actually going to read The Price of Salt because I have it already on my Kindle and I'm like 10% in, / Carol. I did not know that Carol was originally a book. Not seen the movie, but I will say what I'm really liking about this time list that I'm reading for the main channel is that the books are not ones I'd normally pick up on my own, but they have justification to be on this list because the way that Time chose romances was like reaching out to, I think, like librarians, historians, lovers of romance, and so they picked like a fairly diverse selection of stuff. This is like considered like the first great lesbian romance, I think. Or at least that's kind of how they pitch it. Yeah, there's just like an interesting mix of things on this list and books that I like either haven't heard of or wouldn't think to pick up, because the way the Time 50 list works is that they start from like, I don't want to say the beginning of history, but kind of, and then they work their way up until like 2023, I think, maybe 2022. I've read obviously most of the more modern books, but I'm going back and reading some of like the older ones for the list, and yeah, it's been interesting so far. The Price of Salt / Carol is kind of bizarre, but I am liking that I can read this and then watch the movie after. I kind of love that low-key. Like that is one of my, not guilty pleasures, but like one of my favorite things I'm discovering is like reading a book and then immediately watching the adaptation just to see, you know, the differences. I'm not someone who gets hung up on like, oh, is it true to the book? But I just like to see how things kind of play out in a different medium. So anyway, I've been yapping about books, have I not? I also have delightful cats just all around me. Oh, this camera's so heavy. I've got a pepper over there that you can't see. I've got a dingo down here. Okay, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Let me know in the comments down below how you're feeling about this camera. I like it. I'm having a good time with it. It is definitely an adjustment and I can't like swing it around as quickly to like show you cute things, but kind of liking switching things up. So anyway, I'm gonna go eat my dinner. Hopefully Hayden will be here soon. I'll update you as I read The Price of Salt. Hello, divas. We're back once again in the car. I think Haden's out of focus, but does he need to be in focus, really?
I can't focus.
It's anyone's guess. I'm gonna make this a little less bright for us, you know? There we go. That feels more natural. Now Haden has the focus. I don't think that's fair.
Please don't. Please don't. Not today. Not today of all days.
What am I here to say? I read books, and I had a productive day. Actually, I'm still working. I'm still working on my day, but I needed to break it up with some dinner. Finished All's Fair in Love and War. I read more of The Price of Salt, and can I just say for the record, it's a bizarre-ass book. I also like it at the same time. And then I'm also listening to Bloodguard, which is also pretty good, and I think Haden might actually enjoy it. Not actually, he doesn't enjoy anything. And then I started making the notes for my list video, which is what I'm going to do when I return home, is do more of that, get halfway done with the note taking, and then do more of it tomorrow, and then film that video, and just be like, you know, so great. Anyway, let's talk books, okay? Let's talk books. I don't think we need to talk about All's Fair in Love and War, because I think I might have already talked about thoughts on that one, and ultimately, it's like a 2-star book, okay? What I am going to talk about, though, is The Price of Salt and Bloodguard. So,
It's pretty expensive.
I don't know why it's called The Price of Salt, frankly, but this book is about our main character, Therese, aka Terry, and Carol, which is why that movie is called Carol. Terry's working in a department store over Christmas to like earn a little bit of cashola, but what she does instead is like design sets for plays and shit. She like makes little like dioramas and models and like brings them to the play and is like, hey, y'all need to like make this. Like that's what she wants to do for a living. I think she like took a course on it. She's like waiting for her next big opportunity, and her current boyfriend gets her an opportunity, which is really cool. She does that. She's kind of floating through life, whatever. While she's working at the department store, before she, you know, goes and like designs a set for her boyfriend's friend, like whatever, she meets this woman named Carol. Is getting a divorce. Carol's like in her mid-30s. Terry, by the way, is like 19. And Carol is just this like beautiful blonde woman who Terry is just like completely drawn to. And like, yes, she's dating a guy, and yes, she slept with this guy multiple times, and yes, I have cat hair on my face that's like driving me crazy. Anyway, Terry's just like completely taken with Carol, and she does like weird shit to try to like contact her. She like writes her a postcard, like gets a greeting card, Christmas greeting card from her place of work, and then like, I don't know, because she was sending something for Carol, like, oh, I have this lady's address, let me use that incorrectly and like send her a card. But Carol was delighted by it. Carol contacts her and like, hey, you want to go to get coffee with me? Terry's of course like, fuck yeah, I want to get coffee with you. And thus starts their relationship. And it's not really a relationship, it's not very romantic. I think Carol kind of knows that Terry has like a little bit of like a crush on her, but she doesn't really do anything about it necessarily. She does make her a glass of like really, really hot milk when she stays at her house, when Terry stays at Carol's house. The book is just really oddly written. Also, at the beginning of the book, Terry like not follows a coworker home, but kind of. The coworker like invites her over and is like, hey, you like want to come hang? She's like, yeah, sure. And she like goes to this sad old woman's house and like tries on dresses and stuff, and then like I think kind of gets drugged and is able to like make it out before she sleeps in this woman's. It's very, the whole book is just fucking weird. It's like a series of like strange happenings. What I like about it though is that there are these little moments of clarity, these little moments where the writing is like kind of good, and you're like, oh, that's an interesting way to explain that, or like, okay, like I understand where Terry's coming from. What I'm guessing is that because Terry had kind of a fraught relationship with her mom, she's like seeking validation from the women around her. It also talks about like this boarding school kind of situation she went to. There were nuns, and she had like a crush on one of the nuns, and when she talks about Richard, her boyfriend, she's like, yeah, I just like don't love you. And she tells him this multiple times, but he's like, but I love you, so I'm gonna keep coming around. She just like talks about how she's like never felt for him like she feels for Carol. I feel like I am doing a bad job describing this, but actually I'm not, because this is exactly what's happening in the fucking book. It's just chaotic. It's a chaotic ass book, and I don't know what's gonna happen next. And I'm assuming they're not gonna like fuck on page, though it was surprising to me that this book that was seemingly published like quite a while ago makes reference to the fact that Terry's this like unmarried woman and is like fucking her boyfriend. She says that she felt nothing and she didn't enjoy it, if anyone was curious. That was what reference she made to the sexual encounters. Guess Richard wasn't laying it down, but
yeah, Richard ain't got no dick.
That being said, I hit kind of a lull last night when I was reading this on my Kindle, and I could not stay awake. I got a really good night's sleep because of this book, so thank you to Patricia Highsmith, I think is her last name.
I do remember that.
I was very eepy, so that's where we're at with that. Let's talk about Bloodguard real quick. Kind of like it. It's basically Gladiator, which I was not expecting. So the first POV chapter of this romantasy book is told from the male POV, and most of the POV chapters are actually from his perspective, which is kind of unique. I think his name's like Leith. Yes, because she accidentally calls him Keith, the heroine of the book. Leith, I believe, is a human, and he and his people in, like, you know, the different realms around this other realm, like, you can kind of think of it as like shitty little countries around Rome back in like the olden days, you know? He basically decides that he wants to be a gladiator so that if he wins enough of the battles, he will basically get an extreme fortune and like a place in the army of this like foreign land. And he wants to be able to like send money back to his family that's like struggling for whatever reason. And so we get his perspective from the beginning. He's like fighting some people and people are dying around him and it's kind of crazy. So he like cuts the head off of the princess's betrothed in the first chapter. I guess this guy like looked at him funny and he was like, hey, you want to fight? And he's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And he just like whacks this guy's head off, which is pretty crazy. The heroine is the princess of this country. Her uncle is like the regent, I guess, in her stead until she turns 21, and he's not gonna let her become the queen of the realm until she marries, which is kind of tough because her fiance just got whacked. She's trying to find someone like eligible enough to marry, and she's like, wait, this guy who whacked him, kind of hot. Also, he seems talented enough to be able to win, to become part of the Bloodguard. Like, you become a Bloodguard if you like win enough of the gladiator kind of competitions, and you get tattoos, show your rank or whatever. And like once the tattoo is complete, that's when you're like Bloodguard or whatever. She was like, you're hot. Do you want to do this? You can be my king. Win this shit. Because I need someone who's like high ranking and whatever, someone I can trust. And he agrees to it begrudgingly. Also of note, I guess, is her uncle is kind of a despot. Like, he's just like not a very great guy, even though she doesn't fully recognize it. But he's basically been rigging all of the gladiator kind of competitions because he only wants people to become Bloodguard who are like loyal to him. So if someone's just like coming up through the ranks on their own merit, he's like, he does everything in his power to like make sure that they're dead before they can fully complete the tattoo.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Kind of fun, actually. Like, kind of a fun time. I'm loving the like battle scenes right now. This guy's like drowning in the arena because like there's magic in the society, and I think like one of the magicians or witches or whatever creature, she's like creating weather that's like torrential downpour, and I think they're trying to kill him, but he won't be killed. It's very entertaining. I was listening to it while I did my nails. I chose pink. I don't think it's gonna focus, but I chose pink. That's been my day. I have been reading and making notes. I got like 6 books in, I think, in my notes, which is good. I need to get like 24 in because there's 48 books, and then I'll feel accomplished. So that's what I'm doing for the rest of the night. Hayden asked me earlier if we could hang out, and I said no because I'm busy. And
she hates me.
here's my reply, because I didn't give him like a full explanation, but
I didn't need one. I got the hint.
oh, that I was working.
That you hate me.
Was that frustrating? Or was I in focus at all? I don't know. Who's to say? There's only like one.
I hope it wasn't me, because I've been like...
No, you have been.
I've been like zoned out.
No, you definitely have been in focus, but I don't know if I have been, because there's only like one little thing that like tracks on the screen on this camera. So may or may not be a dud. We don't know. We don't know. What I'm going to do, go home, crack open my new Kindle that's on the porch, and admire her before I go back to click-clacking on my keyboard. Also, y'all got to see Binky being so freaking cute. A total menace, but really cute as I was like taking notes. He was like following, what is it called when it cursor? I feel like that's, you know, the thing that like goes on the screen, you know what I mean? But like when you're typing, what's the thing that blinks?
No, it's also a cursor.
Cursor? Okay. Anyway, he was following the cursor and kept trying to hit my screen as I was typing, and he's being very cute. Very annoying, but I put a little bed on my desk, and he did eventually go to sleep, and he just... Do you have anything fun to say? I feel like you normally have some chuckles to provide.
I don't have very much like brain matter left today. The husk of a human being. Corn husker.
Also, putting my arm out like this, I just realized how fucking sore my arms are.
From what?
I need to like retool my schedule again. Not really. I just need to maybe not do upper body the day that I go to my control class.
I also need to retool my schedule and start going to the gym.
You know what happens with Hayden though is like he starts going to the gym, then he stops and he goes, and the thing is he takes too long of a break, and then he gets sore, and he just is just always sore, and will always tell you that he's sore.
It's just hard. I don't want to go at night. You know, meetings in the morning, so then I can't go.
Yep.
You know,
Not hearing these excuses. Hello friends, happy Friday. I am sprinting. I am also taking notes for the 48 most anticipated romances of 2024 or whatever. That's not actually what the list is called. I, for some reason, keep saying it out loud as if that is the name of the list. It's actually Readers' Most Anticipated New Romances for 2024. There just happens to be, I believe, 48 of them. Anyway, yesterday I was able to get through the contemporary romance section of the list. Today I am working on the romantasy and paranormal section and the historical section, both of which are like individually shorter than contemporary section, so I got about halfway done yesterday, which was nice. I also was able to finish The Price of Salt, and I actually wanted to talk about it a little bit and reflect on it. I was definitely not mistaken about this book, but I feel like I was maybe a little critical because the beginning of this book, which felt a little bit odd, but the more that I read and the more that I guess understood about this book, I don't want to say everybody needs to read it, but I'm glad that I did. So the story kind of carries on, and Carol and Terry end up going on a little bit of a vacation together, kind of across the country, a road trip, if you will. Duh, I couldn't find the word I was looking for, but they go on a road trip together and they start exploring their romantic feelings for each other. Terry kind of approaches Carol about it, and Carol's like expecting it kind of the whole time, which I thought was interesting. I feel like Carol was very affectionate towards Terry/Therese, but I don't think she was very forthcoming with her, I guess, emotions, at least at the beginning of the story. So it was just surprising to me that like she was expecting Terry to come on to her and was like, I'm surprised you waited this long. Anyway, as the story carries on, their feelings kind of grow for each other, but there is some sort of like, I don't want to say scary stuff that happens, but essentially, I think I told y'all, Carol was getting a divorce from her husband. She also has a young daughter, and her husband was trying to fight for sole custody of their daughter, and he was trying to get dirt, I guess, on Carol to make this happen. So he knew that Carol had romantic inclinations towards women, and he had someone follow Terry and Carol along on their journey. I don't really want to like spoil what happens at the ending of this book, but that does come into play near the end of the book. But ultimately there is actually a happy ending in the story, which I was a little bit unsure of. I feel like I should have expected it in the sense that it was on this list, and I don't believe that they would put a book on this list that doesn't have a happy ending, because that is kind of hallmark of a romance. But sometimes when like non-romance publications make lists like this, I'm expecting them to have like romantic stories that aren't truly romances on the list, but I should have had more faith because this one has been very interesting in terms of it being a more diverse list than I normally see, having actual research behind it that comes from librarians and people in the romance space. Like they're not just pulling from Goodreads or like just random sources. Like it seems like they did some research behind it, so I shouldn't have been surprised that they put this book on the list and this book happened to have a happy ending. But that is something that I think I wanted to talk about specifically. I didn't realize that this book, not only is it one of the first, like, I don't want to say like sapphic pulp novels, but it's, I think, the only one in this time period that had a happy ending, which I didn't realize like how rare that was. Apparently like lesbian pulp novels were a thing in like the 50s and 60s. Almost all of them had kind of like sad or shitty endings, which I guess makes sense given that in this time period it wasn't okay to be queer publicly. And so I guess the books reflected kind of the reality of that. And while this book did reflect the reality that queer couples face, obviously, like during this time period, these two were still able to have their happy ending. And I thought that was really cool. Like I really appreciated that. I don't know. There's other lore, I guess, behind this book as well. The author wrote primarily, I want to say, like mystery thrillers under a different name, and so she assumed a pseudonym and kind of wrote some of her own life experiences into this, which I thought was really interesting. There's also sort of like an age gap situation here in the story because Carol's in her 30s and our other heroine Terry is like 19, I think. So there's also sort of this play on age gap romance, and also this idea that Terry/Therese is a little bit like seeking motherly affection and attention, and kind of gets that from Carol, which is like something that you could probably spend hours analyzing. All this to say, I enjoyed this book and I'm glad that I got to take a peek into history. I'm a little less scared now going into the rest of the books that I need to read for like this section of that list video. I've been intimidated and or not super excited for some of the older stuff because I just assumed like none of them would have happy endings, or like they wouldn't be what I'm into. And sure, there were some like quirks with the writing that I wasn't a fan of in this book, but it was a happy ending, and so it has me curious to read, I guess, some of the even older books on this list. So, and that's for the Time 50 best list video. It's not for this particular list video. So still listening to Bloodguard. I haven't gotten that much farther in it though, because I've been mostly focusing on the notes for the list video that I'm working on. That's gonna be like the last book that I read for it. Ow! Oh my god. I like accidentally just on my knee, and I guess I have a bruise in that location, so that's fun. I wish that I had more exciting things to share. Oh, I did do this. That's something I can I mean, y'all saw me make this. I don't know why I'm so pleased with myself, but I just think this is so cute, okay? Like, it's fun, and I wish that she would focus, but this camera doesn't have their product showcase feature like my other one. So anyway, that's it, and I love it. I think it's so cute. I feel like I maybe could have gone a little smaller with the text, but I like the stark white contrast on this pink Kindle. It's so fun. I also struck by how light this is. It's been a delight to read from. It's also so fast. Like the page turning is almost like not visible, which is really cool. Yeah, I really like this. I have been reading mostly on my Kindle Scribe lately. I like it. I like the 2-column view. I love that it's like, I don't know, kind of like reading on a computer screen or an iPad, which is actually like something I really enjoy and where I read the fastest, but it's not exactly lightweight and not great for travel. So I'm very happy to have this, and she's really cute. I am gonna go. I'm gonna go finish my notes. I'm gonna keep sprinting. My plan is to sprint until I am finished with the notes for this video. I'm gonna get dinner with Haden, and then I'm gonna come back and read Bloodguard. I know, my life is just so thrilling this week. I'm proud of myself though for getting out of bed. Like this morning I was reading Bloodguard and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna read the whole thing for like the rest of the 4 hours. I'll do notes later, whatever. But then I convinced myself, hey bitch, you probably need to get out of bed. Like being in bed like this is probably not great. So up and at it. We're doing things. Get into it, you know, slowly easing back into life and things that I need to do. Next week is gonna be a different story though. Next week we're gonna be on top of things. Maybe. I think I need to start rebranding like these nighttime chats or branding them maybe. I'm not sure. I feel like I always have so much to say, so much to gab about at nighttime. First up, I did finish all of the notes for my list video tomorrow that I'm filming and editing. And filming and editing in a single day is not necessarily preferred, but I think I'm gonna have plenty of time to do it. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be okay. Especially since I'm not filming like at night. I pretty much always, if you're curious, film my list videos at like 7 or 8 p.m. And sometimes I edit the same night. Most of the time I don't. Sometimes I do. So tomorrow, what I'm planning on doing is kind of hanging out in the morning, maybe finishing this audiobook that I'm listening to in the morning. Technically I have one book left, one note to add to the list, but I'm gonna go to my Pilates class at noon, come back, get ready, and film the video. I'm glad I got that done. Glad I went upstairs, glad I sat down at my computer, implementing some discipline in my life. Discipline's been lacking, and then I picked up Bloodguard, and I'm a little disappointed because I was really vibing with like the gladiator style of this book. I thought it was really interesting. I liked Leith's point of view. I liked that we had that male point of view. It's already become something that I just don't care about. Like technically he's still undergoing like the Bloodguard trial or like, I don't know, gladiator situations, but also he's like, I don't want to say found a way out of like imprisonment in the meantime, but like normally when you're going through these trials, like you're not given special treatment, and he's gone to like events with the heroine. They've made out and I think they've had sex. I don't, there's just like a lot that the pacing vibes, like it's going in a direction I don't like. How about let's put it like that. So but I'm listening to it and I have a couple hours left, so I'll listen to some more tonight and probably the rest tomorrow just because I have the time to do that, which is nice. I also need to read Dark Lover for the podcast and put quickie list of like sexiest books of 2024 together, but mostly I just wanted to pop in and get a little deep as I like to do at night. I don't know. I had a moment yesterday, shall we say, and I'm gonna talk through that moment with Haden, thinking about kids, thinking about babies and all that good stuff. And so timestamping a little bit of fertility talk right here. It's been a second, I feel like, since I've talked about it. Not that it has like completely gone away, obviously, but yeah, you know, in thinking about my plans for next year and in thinking about what I want my life to look like, I don't know, I've been really wrestling with the fact that I don't think I want to do any transfers next year. And it's not that I am not allowed to change my mind. I obviously like allow myself to do that if that is the right choice for me, but I do better with a plan. I do better sort of conceptualizing the future, just generally having a plan. I mean, like, it's my life, right? I get to try to plan it at least and try to plan for eventualities and shit like that. And I don't know, I think I'm struggling because it's one of those situations that where there's not a right answer. I do want to have a baby. That is still on my list. I actually got a comment recently from someone saying like they were, I don't know if they were taking a break from trying to have a baby or if they'd accepted that they weren't going to be a parent or something, which case my heart goes out to you. But I feel like that person was trying to relate to me. I want a baby. I want to make that clear. Like that's not going away. Like that desire by doing IVF, like that is not off the table for me. And I think that's the thing, is like being on the internet's such a weird thing. Like I worry about public perception a little bit, not that that plays a ton into my quest for fertility or to have a baby, but sometimes I wonder, I guess if I take a break, what does that communicate about me? What does that say about me? And I know that's like silly to even think about, but like, I don't know, sometimes I think, am I being too selfish? Am I spending too much time on myself? And, you know, I've also had like mothers in the comment section reach out to me and say like, oh, you're doing the right thing. I wish I had like taken some time and taken more time for myself before having a kid. So it's like, there's no right answer, right? There's no right answer to any of this. But yesterday I got a couple of like really cute TikToks on my For You page of like sweet babies, and it just, that yearning, that longing, it just hasn't gone away. It's not going to go away. And I'm totally fine with it never going away. Even if I don't have a kid, it's fine to like have that desire in my heart. But that being said, I just don't want to have a kid. I think I'm having a hard time with it because I know in my heart that the thing that would make the most sense for me is to take 2025 and pursue all of the things that I'm excited about. That's the conversation I was having with Haden today. I was checking in with him because obviously it's my body and my choice and but I wanted to hear from him about what he thought about me taking a break and if that was something that, if he had his say, like what he would want to do. And he was like, you know what, no, I think you're, making a choice for you. And also, like, our lives have just like changed, so I don't want to say completely, but like our lives look so different mid-year this year to what they did 6 months ago or a year ago. It's weird. It's like you are in this like haze, or at least we were in haze for what felt like multiple years, where we were doing the same kind of boring dead-end jobs and doing the same thing over and over, and we were like looking for the next step, and we knew we wanted a kid, and so that was going to be the next step. And now that it feels like our world has like opened up again, we both have so many things that we want to get accomplished. And it's not that you can't accomplish things with a kid, but it's like some things are obviously made more challenging or have to be put on the back burner if you do have a kid. I do feel like there's a lot ahead of me, which is so exciting to be able to say, at 30, that there's things that I still want to do, right? I mean, obviously life doesn't end at 30, but I think a lot of us kind of grapple with like entering a different decade and feeling like maybe we're washed up or like irrelevant. I feel that way sometimes on the internet, but yeah, I don't know. I had a moment yesterday, just a moment of, am I doing the right thing? Am I heading in the right direction? And I think I know that I am. I think that there's a lot of like discovery and excitement and fun things that I still have yet to do and want to do before I make that transition into parenthood. And I think, part of me, is sad that like a baby is not in my immediate future, but who's to say that would be promised anyway, regardless of whether we knew we had fertility issues or not. So lots of musings, clearly, lots of things swirling in my head. And I don't really foresee myself changing my mind about the decisions I'm making. I feel pretty confident in my plan. I was getting my arm out actually to give you a pet. Yes. It's weird to feel both confident and also sort of uncertain. And part of me wants to stop recording this and re-record it and try to make it sound pretty, but you know what? Sometimes things just like don't sound that pretty because this is stream of consciousness. This is my life. This is my thoughts about all of this. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future, and I'm genuinely so excited for next year. I've already been kind of thinking about 2025 as this like momentous year, I don't want to build it up too much in my head, but I have so many plans that I am dreaming of, and God, I'm such a dreamer. I love dreaming up the impossible or far-fetched things, and I don't know. I think I'm ready to like genuinely live my best life. It was like this second half of the year has been like my trial run, showing me that like there's possibilities and there's good things out there. And I think next year is like the year. Like we're gonna thrive, we're gonna have fun together, and I hope you're ready for it. Again, sorry that won't really include IVF. Not that I need to really apologize for that, but yeah, I'm ready to like run headfirst, I guess, into that. And if shit changes, if my mind changes, that's fine too. You know what I really want to do? I really want to use this damn Kindle. I really want to read her, even though I really need to listen to this audiobook. So, hey, I might pick up something else while I'm down here. Maybe listen to like an hour of that audiobook and then pick up a different book. Because I do have some stuff to read for a list video I'm trying to film next week. So, you know how it is. Oh, one other thing that's been on my mind. I finally uploaded the footage from the other clips for this vlog onto my camera, onto my laptop. Quality is crisp, but it is doing for my face. I don't know that I like it. Granted, here's something observational. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's laziness lately, but I have really not been wearing very much makeup. Actually not wearing foundation today. And that actually is not so bad, but my skin has been fucking terrible for no reason. I think my period's coming. I think that's actually the reason. I haven't been sleeping very well, and I feel like in the clip where I'm in my living room, I look haggard. My other camera would not have done me dirty like that, This camera, however, does. But I like the wide frame. I like the quality. I just need to play around with it more. Y'all let me know, I guess, like what you think. One thing I will say is that for car trips, I will be bringing my other camera because having two people on like two different planes with this lens is not the best. Because obviously I was in focus or Haden wasn't in focus, you know what I mean? So I will be taking that into consideration going forward. But I guess let me know if you like don't mind this or think it's okay for everything else, because I certainly do. I think it's pretty nice. That's it. That's all I have to say. I'll see you tomorrow. Hello friends, happy Sunday. I am in my disheveled office because I filmed that list video yesterday and I finished editing it, I want to say like an hour ago. It's now live and I am feeling out of sorts, as you can probably tell by how I look. I am going to get my shit together though, because Sunday is far from over. It's like 2 p.m. and I think what I need to do is put some makeup on and film a part of the vlog that I need to get working on. This happens every once in a while, but sometimes I'll work with brands and we'll have like the video planned and it's going to be posted, uploaded, etc. And then I just like don't get the product in time from the brand. Kind of like throw off my posting schedule just a little bit. And I have to post a video on, I want to say Wednesday or Thursday of this week, which is a little unusual for me. It's kind of throwing off my game a little bit. I'm like, okay, scrambling to put something together. I've decided on a sports romance video. I had already kind of tentatively planned to do a midweek video anyway. I was like, oh, if I get enough time, I can do it. And if it weren't for the sponsorship, I probably would have scrapped it, but you know what? We're not scrapping it, we're doing it. Get decent looking and do that. And I mostly just feel gross because my hair, I wash my hair every Thursday and Sunday, and I did that this week, but for some reason my hair has just been greasier than usual, which is super fun. I was actually just looking at dry shampoos because I'm out. I'm feeling grubby, I'm feeling gross, I'm feeling out of sorts, and I just need to get my shit together. I feel like every vlog of mine kind of sounds the same. That's something that I wanted to like mention. Not that that really is going to change anything, but I don't know if y'all like get annoyed by me just talking about like, you know, this is what I'm doing for work and just saying the same shit over and over again. Sometimes I get sick of hearing myself. I was actually editing part of this vlog and listening to myself talk about, you know, my dilemma about, you know, pausing IVF and or like kind of for sure not doing it next year. And I was like, I'm pretty sure you've already talked about this before. Like, do y'all get annoyed when your like favorite content creators like talk about the same shit every video? Because like I don't want to be that person, but at the same time, that's what's going on in my life, you know? Or at least those are the things that are, you know, in my head. Maybe that just like speaks to the fact that I do not have enough going on in my life. Like maybe I need to get a life so I have more to talk about. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, sitting down to do my makeup, sitting down with my Pepper, who has been literally sleeping all day. He is tuckered back there. Actually been bringing this camera, like my small camera, with Hayden and I when we go and grab food at night, which is most nights because we still have not gotten groceries and like gotten back on track with, you know, health and fitness and stuff. And I just like have not had anything to say in the car. So I just like, you know, never end up filming, but maybe I'll do that tonight. Maybe that'll be my gift to you. Because here's the thing, Hayden always brings, I feel like, something new to talk about or something new to say, but I try to like have enough energy while I'm on camera with him to where it's like not unexciting. And I just like, I have not had that lately. I don't know what's up. I don't know. I think it's because I've been just doing literally work. I've just been working all week. I guess I could talk to y'all about the books that I have been reading. I did finish The Price of Salt. I think that's the last book that I talked to y'all about. And I have picked up 2 other books for my time video. And I have to say, it's so interesting again, seeing like the justifications for these books. Like I picked up one that was like the 12th book in a series. I guess it's kind of a standalone, so I was like, okay, interesting. I didn't realize like why they put this one on the list. It seemed kind of a random choice, but that's because I didn't know much about the book. And apparently this was one of the first like mass published modern romances with gay characters who have like a happily ever after, kind of similar to The Price of Salt in that way, but this is like a male-male romance. I think it's called All Through the Night by Suzanne Brockman. I'm not super far into it, but it is about a guy who's in like private security, I think, and then a famous actor or like an up-and-coming actor and their relationship. And I think one of the guys is going to propose to the other in the book. The weird thing is like, I don't know why this book rather than another one was put on the list, because it seems like they already have their romance figured out. Like they have been in a relationship for a little while. I would assume that romance would like carry on or like be carried out in another book, in which case why wasn't that one put on the list? But maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe like they are a side relationship in like a different book. I don't know. I'm only a little bit of the way into that one. I also picked up a book called Friday's Child, which is one of the older books on the list, and I don't know, it gives like massive historical romance vibes. I don't know if like this was published back in the day. I'm assuming it is just because of the language usage, but the book is about our main character Isabella, and she's getting proposed to by her next door neighbor at the beginning of the book, and she basically turns him down. She's like, you never even liked me, and also you're like a notorious rake and gambler, and like why the fuck would I want to marry you? He's like, no, I've been in love with you this whole time. And she's like, yeah, that's very suspect. I do not believe that. And she like pulls out receipts, which is hilarious. And she also kind of like talks in her internal dialogue. I mean, it's third person, but we kind of get the vibe that there's a lot of people who are pursuing her because she's like beautiful and whatever. And she's like, why is this guy allowed to come and see me and allowed to come and talk to me? Because I guess she's like in the country for some reason. I think because she made some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like gaffe in public, like maybe she was making fun of someone or like something like that. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. So she's like in the country with her parents, said no visitors, but I guess this guy like snuck in the house to propose to her and also like asked her dad. I mean, this guy was like, yeah, look, I'm gonna ask the dad for her hand in marriage before I ask Isabella. And it's funny because the dad's like, I mean, you need to ask her because it's up to her ultimately, which is, you know, kind of a rare win for a historical romance. But anyway, she turns the man down. Surprisingly, we're still getting a little bit of his point of view. So I'm wondering if like he is the love interest and he's gonna like reform himself over the course of the story, or, like what the vibe is of this book. It's a little all over the place if that wasn't evident by how I'm describing it. But so far I'm like kind of intrigued, despite this one being older and like maybe a little bit more Pride and Prejudice-y in terms of like how it's written. I feel like I'm more invested in this one than All Through the Night, probably because the opening of this one is just so wild to me. I don't know. It's kind of wacky and I'm kind of here for it. So anyway, that's what I was reading on my Kindle last night before I passed the hell out. I was so tired. My Apple Watch actually was like, hey girl, congrats on all the sleep you got last night. It was more than your sleep goal. So I'm definitely I was gonna say well slept. That's not the word. Well rested. She's well rested. Okay, I feel like I went a little hard on the bronzer on this side. That is always the risk. Being a pale person, applying like a contour product is, you know, gotta add some shape back to the face, but also don't want to look like I've been rolling around in dirt. I'll be back later, probably around dinner time with Haden. Hey divas. We're in the car, just had Chipotle, and Haden had Panda Express. So, you know, a multicultural experience. We like to keep things really authentic. Yeah. Authentic flavors in our life, for
bold,
sure.
Bold, authentic flavors.
I just wanted to pop in and say, hey, like, I have been reading on my sweet little slutty Kindle. She's at home. I didn't bring her with me, although she has been going places with me and is now my new emotional support Kindle. Just thinking about the pink really lights up my world, and 10 out of 10 good decision.
What is an emotional support Kindle?
It's one where you like bring it with you to every room that you're in, even though you're pretty sure you're not gonna read, but like it's with you if you have the
I see.
urge, you know, and you didn't want to get on your Kindle app on your phone. So yeah. He finished Dark Lover today. He's feeling glam. Have I read it in typical Chandler fashion? The answer is no. To be fair, I did read about half of it like a month ago, when I had the idea that this was the book that we were going to read. I'm probably going to go back and start from the beginning at some point in the next couple of days, but...
At some point? I love how you were like, you need to finish this week.
I wanted to film on Sunday, which is today, but the problem is I realized I actually need to film this sports romance vlog over Sunday and Monday because I'm getting Botox on Tuesday. Yeah, and I, you know, as much as I love Botox and I'm like totally cool with talking about it, I don't know that I want to like show up on the main channel with like needle marks in my forehead. It just doesn't seem like super glam, so I'm not going to be doing that. And
I think it's like the definition of glam.
I'm now halfway into Slapshot Surprise by Melanie Hartlow, and for some reason I didn't realize from the title that meant that it was going to be a surprise pregnancy romance, so I guess that's on me. It's been fine though. It's like totally fine, and I will be talking about it in this car after I film this clip. So I hope y'all enjoyed those cute cat moments, because they have been freaking precious all week, but especially Binky today was really making me laugh, and also being so cute. He like sprawled out next to me, and then I gave him my hand, and he put his paw on my hand, and he sniffed my fingers, and he was purring so loud, and then he went to sleep with his paw on my hand, and then I tried to move it, and he didn't like that, so I just left it there. Okay. And I could only like switch my Kindle page with this hand, which is hard.
No, you know how I feel.
No, because the phone's small.
Well, I just mean like being limited to one limb, you know?
He rubs my head at night, like a cat, I guess.
And sometimes you go to sleep, and then I like feel like I really can't move, you know?
Yeah, I did pass out last night.
You do a lot of the time.
More lately. It's not that often.
I mean, like, here's the deal. It's not like on accident. You prepare yourself to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, do everything you need to do so you don't have to get up again.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if I fall asleep,
and then you turn off your lamp and you put your phone on the charger.
I sure do. I sure do.
Well, I started reading a new book today, so...
You did. It's called The Mercy of Gods by James S.A. Corey.
Yeah, it's the new James S.A. Corey book.
I don't like that it sounds like it's one person and it's not one person writing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lie. Kind of like Christina Lauren. Everybody thinks that's one person. It's not. It's two.
Yeah, exactly. But they're out here writing...
I'm just happy that they did.
Banger books. I really want to know their writing process, though, because...
Yeah, how do you do that? Do they pick who gets to do, like, what point of view?
Well,
or like...
no, but here's the interesting thing, and the reason why I'm saying I'd be interested to know their writing process is, like, the writing style always feels very consistent throughout. Like, if you didn't know that it were two people, you would never suspect. This feels like kind of a different writing style. This feels like it was written by someone else. Like, it feels exactly the same, like, truly consistent throughout every book that I've read from them. So I'm like, how does this work?
I'm sure there's like an interview somewhere with these fuckers.
Probably. But this one's really good. I'm only on chapter 3. I don't know. I just like their writing style. So
Happy for you, bestie. I'm happy to be reading romance that is easy breezy. Like, I have been getting through this book so quickly. I'm 50% in. And don't get me wrong, some of the stuff I'm reading for the time video, like, I'm feeling smarter from doing it. But sometimes I don't want to feel smart. Sometimes I just want to vibe.
you see the time video?
Yeah, I'm doing a list video reading Time's, like, best romances or whatever.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like saying that you were reading some kind of romance where there was like a time thing going on, and you were like, that's just like it's not easy peasy for me. I'm like trying to track people through the decades and like.
I mean, I have read romances.
What
like
time
that
are we
before,
in?
but
Yeah, I know.
No, not this time. That's actually, I like the way that the list was curated. It was definitely curated by librarians and like people who understand romance, because the list actually goes from like the 1800s to present day, and each romance was picked for a specific reason as well. Books I pick up, I'm like, why the fuck did they pick this? And then I go back and read and I was like, oh, interesting, okay.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's a good reason, honestly.
No,
I'm gonna be honest. If you read it and you're like, why would they pick this? Then you like read the one sentence where they were like,
listen.
I don't know, like what would be a good reason where you would have read a book?
I literally told you like a couple of days ago, I was reading a book called The Price of Salt, and it was like a lesbian romance, and they made it into a movie and everything. And I didn't really like the way that the book was written. I didn't feel like the romance was like all that great, but I didn't realize this is one of the first lesbian pulp novels to have a happy ending, and it made like a really big impact when it was published. Like, there are reasons for things. As the book carried on, I actually did end up appreciating it more, but even at the end I was like, oh, okay, like I could see that. Like, I'm glad that it was put on that list for that reason. I think knowing like the history of certain things is important. Even if you in a modern context don't necessarily appreciate it as much as like the modern version or iteration.
Yeah, I was gonna
like, I'm a contemporary, right? Like, I'm going to appreciate the things that are written in my time period more typically. I still can appreciate where the origins, I guess, are.
I was going to make a reference to music, but you know, I don't want to cause a controversy in the comment section, you know.
About what?
I was saying like there's definitely similar like artists and bands in my opinion, you know.
For sure.
Like, where they're like on like a list of classics, and if you were to just go listen to it, you're like, sure, you know. I'm not saying it's like bad or anything.
It's just not what you would choose to like listen to for fun.
I actually used to feel that way about the Beatles. They've definitely grown on me a lot more. Like, I don't listen to them, you know. I feel like a lot of the classic songs that you would know if you don't know the Beatles are some of the worst ones in my opinion. I think they got some real gems in there.
Sleepers.
Yeah. Yes, the Beatles have sleepers. Yeah.
The real underground stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
No wonder your ring's all misshapen and shit, banging it around on stuff.
I do take it off when I climb, though.
I would hope so.
It's just because I'm more afraid that like my finger's gonna get ripped off or something.
Yeah, that's,
you know,
certainly a possibility, and I like your fingers where they are.
Or there's been like a time or two where I've like slapped a hold and then felt like my hand came off because the metal was in the way instead of skin. I was like, oh, I'm wearing my ring. I should probably take that off.
I think I've told Haden this before, actually semi-recently. I don't know if this is a universal experience. In fact, I know that it's not a universal experience because Haden doesn't experience it. But whenever I am talking to people, when I am not in their presence, like texting or even FaceTiming, I like to know where they are. Like, I visualize it in my head, and I don't go so far as to like ask the person. Well, sometimes I ask them like what they're doing, and then I try to figure out where they are based on what they tell me. And it's not from like a stalkerish perspective where like I need to know. It's just like I like the visual. I don't know. I like to know where someone is when they're talking to me. And this also makes me think of Haden's climbing. Whenever he talks about it, I just like, I can't visualize it because I've never seen it. I just like picture him like shimmying up a wall, kind of like Edward in Twilight, kind of like swinging from tree to tree really effortlessly. I know it's not like that because Haden's not that good at what he does.
Wow.
But
okay.
I mean, you have told me you're not that good.
Have I?
Yeah.
Fucking great.
You told me you fall a lot.
Yeah, I mean, everyone should. If you don't fall a lot, you're not trying, you know?
Like, if you were good, wouldn't you, like, not fall? Because you'd be, like, climbing and you wouldn't need to fall?
Well, no, because, like, even the best people there have a hard time climbing the hardest climbs in the gym.
Do you do
know?
the hard one?
No.
I rest my case.
But I'm saying, like, those guys are falling, like, a lot. Like, they're doing the first move of a climb, like, over and over again. Yeah, because they fall. Like, they're trying to do it, they can't do it, and then they try it again, you know?
It took that man a good 5 minutes to back out. That's why I hate trucks. I stand by that.
But yeah, you should come sometime, just for fun. Just so you can, like, then have, like, a visual what the place looks like.
What if I don't like it? What if it makes me view you differently? You know what I
What do you
mean?
mean? What if you don't
Like,
like
what
it?
if it gives me the ick?
Oh, seeing me climb? You
Yeah.
don't have to watch me climb. Like, you just have
Well,
to, like,
that's the
look
whole,
in.
no, that's the point. That's the whole point. Like, I need to be able to like picture it in my mind's eye. Otherwise, it's like, what's the point? Like, I could look up pictures of your gym online. Like,
That's fair, yeah.
you know, like I need to see this little rat shimming up a wall.
What if you don't like it?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, it gives me the ick. But like, maybe the visual's not bad.
Well, maybe
but if
you
it
should.
is,
Maybe you should go and climb,
oh,
and then like maybe it'll give you a different perspective. Like it won't give you the ick, you know. Like maybe you'll be like, okay, yeah, that's probably a bit harder than it looks.
I'm sure it is. I'm not saying this is easy. I'm saying
Oh, I know.
it's
I'm
also,
not saying you are.
It's
but
also incredibly dorky.
fair.
So I mean,
But I
that's
mean,
fine. Like, I love that for you.
What would be like not dorky? You know?
Activity wise,
Yeah.
like what are some sexy activities?
Sure.
Swimming.
Really? You'd like to see me in the little swim cap and
You
goggles?
don't need to wear a swim cap. Lifting is pretty hot.
I'm also doing that.
I don't know what
It's like separate.
I don't know what sports men do, you know? I mean, I guess yoga, if you're a hot guy doing yoga. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think yoga's inherently sexy. Well,
I feel like yoga's just like you're really sweaty and you're like kind of sliding off of the mat in your own sweat, and like that's just like not sexy to me, honestly.
That's
you know,
fair.
I'm not saying sweat can't be
so you're
sexy.
saying I'm not sexy when I do yoga?
I'm not saying sweat can't be sexy, but I am saying that like the fact that you have to bring a towel
He's
to
talking
not slide.
specifically about the yoga classes he's been to, but that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm sticking with my guns. Honestly, really just weightlifting. I'm not saying there's like,
Just weightlifting. What about like tennis?
oh yeah, tennis is hot.
Like tennis is hot.
Lots of good grunting,
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of like accessible sports, which I mean, tennis is kind of, but you kind of have to be a little good at it to
Well,
do it.
and you have to like have a partner. Like you can't just
Do it
like
alone, yeah.
do it alone. Yeah, unless like what you're just like hitting a ball up against the wall or something, and that's not even tennis at that point.
Yeah.
I don't really know what you want from me.
Football's hot, but again, it's like it's a sport. It's not an activity.
Yeah, I can't
That's how I feel
play
about
football
tennis.
alone. Literally can't do anything with football alone.
Golf is not sexy. I can say that with certainty. Golf, very not sexy. Pickleball, not sexy.
Well, yeah, I didn't even.
I'm gonna leave us here because the sun's setting and I need to film a clip for another video. I was gonna say maybe next week will be more fun. I actually can't guarantee that though because I have a lot of shit to do. I will expose you to my Botox forehead though. So some blessings. Have a delightful rest of your week and I'll see you in the next one.